Good evening. Everybody having a fabulous night here tonight? Well, let me see. My story is going to begin when I am just about 32. And I'm married, and I am a working mom. I'm working full-time as a dental hygienist. And I have two adorable boys, Jack and Sam, and they are about 3, almost 6. It's 1990. Greed is still good. The Simpsons just debuted on Fox TV. We were probably all home alone. We were crying tears for fears, and we were raising millennium kids. So we lived at Virginia Beach, and our little neighborhood is called Oak Springs. It was a new neighborhood, but it was in between, those of you who live at the beach, you'll understand this, in between Chimney Hill and Green Run. It was so new that the park, was so new that depending upon the weather, it was either a dust bowl or a mud heap. Okay? So whenever I wanted to take my kids for a day in the park, we would get on our bicycles and we would go to Green Run's park. It was a little bit of an older park. It was treed, so the damaging sunlight wouldn't get to my children. We would ride our bikes and go over there. So one day we decided to drive over there, and I was warned. I was warned about the park at Green Run, that people used to affectionately refer to it, maybe they still do, as Gang Run. But I thought that was just gang-ophobic folklore, so we didn't pay much attention to it. But it always kept in the back of my head. So we get to the park, always looking and watching my surroundings. I'm scanning. I'm looking and listening and smelling for danger. I noticed the two boys, the back of the fence there, smoking cigarettes. Okay. See 3 teenage girls over there. They're on the platform to the spiral slide. I'm not really quite sure what they're doing, but they are certainly up to something nefarious. And then I look over to the other side, and there's a group about maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 kids. They're about 7 to 10 years old, and they're just running around playing. So we ride up on our bicycles, and I get my youngest one out of the seat behind me on the bike, and they immediately take off and they go and find that little round-around thing that somebody has to push you on. Okay, so I get over there and I start pushing my 2 children, and all of a sudden all of the little kids come over because now there's a big person to push everybody on the round and around. And so I start to slow it down, okay, so these other kids can get on. And I hear one boy say to his brother that he was going to go home and tell mommy on him because he said shit. And I was like, my God. So I look at the kid and they start arguing. I didn't say it, we did too. They're arguing back and forth, and I'm thinking to myself, I came here for a fun day at the park. I don't really want to have to put up with this, so I want to put this to rest, okay, before we go any further. I just want to sort of stop this, this arguing between these 2 kids. And I think to myself, what would my mother, in her infinite wisdom and eternal fairness, what would she have said? So I looked at the boy and I said, nobody likes a tattletale deer. So let's just forget this whole shit stuff with your brother, and let's just go on and have a good time, okay? So we get on, and then we're having some fun there, and then my boys decide that they're kind of bored with the, dizzying effect of my pushing them. They decide that they're going to head on over to where those 3 teenage girls are doing something on the platform of that spiral slide. So they start running over. They're boys. They're noisy, and those girls don't look up. They're so intent on what they're doing, they don't even realize that I have already stepped over my kids, and I'm in front of them now going up the stairs. They don't notice still that I'm hovering over them, and I'm watching them peruse the pages of Playboy. I grab their attention when I grab that magazine right from their hands, and they look up at me. Now, when I was a kid, if an adult would have showed up on the scene of that, I would have been mortified. They stare at me. And again, I have to look at myself and say, oh, what would my mother do? So I'm looking and I say to the girls, what are you doing? What is this? And there's 3 of them, and one of them says, the bold one, she looks at me and she says, it's not me, I found it. The lamest excuse in the world. It's not mine, it was just here when I got here. So the other girl looks at me and says, I wasn't reading it, I was just looking. As if that made a big difference. So I started thinking, again, what would my mom have done? What words of wisdom, back in your head, there's some part in your brain where all the stupid things that your mother says to you growing up, because she is as dumb as a stump, she can't know anything. But somehow they stay in your head. So I give them the old, very lame parent thing of if all your friends line, okay? So, but I give it a 90s twist. And I said, if you found a vial of crack cocaine here, would you do it just because it was here? And I looked at the other 2 lamos and I said to them, and would you just sit there and watch your friend do crack cocaine because it was here? So I want to make my statement now because I have it in my hand, and I've got this Playboy. I really want to show them that I'm the alpha female right now. Okay, so I grab it and I try to rip it in half to show how tough I am. Have you all ever tried to rip a magazine in half with those little glossy? Yeah, it doesn't work. So I have to sort of rearrange my making a statement thing, and I ripped 3 pages. Still feeling very empowered over my prowess. March down the stairs, theatrically go over to the garbage can, and I throw that out. Okay, the girls now I see are walking over to the smoking boys over there, and I'm sitting there just waiting to see my children come tumbling down the slide, which they do. That magazine had not even touched the bottom of that trash can yet for, I don't know, 2 seconds, okay, when I hear a ruckus going off with the little kids on the other side of the park. So I look over there, and there is this little kid, feral child that he is. He is doing his very best Joe Pesci imitation on the brother who had just said shit, okay? So I jump up and I yell, hey, stop! And I'm running over there, and Joe Pesci Jr. looks at me like, just try it, lady. Just try it. So for a second there, I start thinking, oh my God, okay, well, take note, okay, well, you're twice his size and probably weigh 3 times as much as he does. You could probably take him. So I make my move. I head out towards him, and as soon as I run towards him, he takes off. Score 1 for me. And then I see the poor boy there, so I lift him up, so I take Potty Mouth over to Tattletale, and I said, this is the kind of stuff that you tell your mother about, okay? So they head off the other way. Then I realized this whole thing probably didn't take anything more than about 15 seconds, but I realized I have left my children with the wolves. So I turn around thinking, oh my God, where would my children be? And there's my oldest one holding his little brother's hand by the bikes with this, can we go home now? So, okay, I start to meander back, and what do I see? Okay, I see those kids hovering around the trash can. So, have to make the detour. I go over there and I take my little olive oil arm and I go all the way in and I take out the ripped up old dirty magazine. I look at them and I say, you really didn't think I was going to leave this, did you? So I have this magazine all crumpled and dirty, get over to the bicycles, and we head home. Now, the couple of times that I thought about my mom, I only thought about my mom because my mom always seemed like we were worlds apart. We were never, not like today, moms or friends. My mother was from another planet. And I never understood her until that moment. And when I was thinking about, when I got home, I was thinking, you know what? I'm 32 and I became my mom today. So I had to call her up and tell her my experience there. And I call her and I tell her, Mom, I'm 32 and I became you today. I got off of the all about me planet and I took my rocket ship over to her planet where it's all about somebody else planet. And my husband comes home and he starts complaining about his day at the office. He's complaining, he had a rough day, had a complicated root canal. I'm looking at him like your day was complicated. I stop him. I'm like, I can't hear another word of that. Let me tell you about my day. And I tell him, and then I announce, we're moving. So anyway, he looks at me and he laughs. He thinks that's kind of funny. I had a fun day. Wasn't that fun? Day in the park with the kids. It was fun. You rode your bike. You had fresh air. Wow, it was fun. And I said, you know what? It really wasn't all that fun. And but he's laughing, and he said, what are you going to do? He said, was this a one-time only thing? Or are you going to put on your little supermom cape and get on your bike and go to park and clean them all up for all the kids who want to play at the park? And I thought about that. It's been about 20 years now since I put on my supermom cape, and I've kept it on ever since. I never leave the house without it. Some of us may have more money, may have more time than money, so we put on our super volunteer cape. Some people have more money than time, so I need you to put on your super donating cape and donate generously, because after all, it is for kids. Thank you.